Can Africa claim the 21st century? That is, can Africa claim the 21st century? So, of course, the 20th century, according to experts and development economists, they say that the 21st century will be the Asian century. Look at China. Basically, it is developing at very, very fast rates. Never mind that some are saying its economy is about to heat up. Of course, there is the blow up, I think the bankruptcy of its top real estate companies, it Evergrande, and I think the property bubble in China. So, of course, I'm saying this property bubble in China is going to usher in a recession in China. But I think China is growing at very fast rates, not just China. Look at India. India is also growing very, very fast. And I think China and India together produce about 2/3 of the world's science and engineering PhDs. That is, China and India produce about 2/3 of the world's science and engineering PhDs. In the 1950s, development economists had postulated that Africa would be the one to develop first because of its immense mineral resources. That is, development economists in the 1950s had postulated that Africa would develop first because of its immense mineral resources, but that did not happen as Africa was ruled by tyrants and then it cascaded down the drain. So basically Africa is not has not developed, and I think 75% of the poorest countries in the world are in sub-Saharan Africa. You can imagine that 75% of the poorest countries in the world are in sub-Saharan Africa. So how does Africa then grow from its maybe underdevelopment? I think we have to fix our leadership. Our leaders don't serve us. They don't serve Africans. Our leaders don't serve us, and basically we need to recalibrate the leadership of Africa. Why is it that Africa's leaders really don't put their people at heart? And I think when it is not that Africa does not have able and capable leaders, it is just that its leaders are buried deep under. So basically, when you are choosing the wedding committee chairperson, we select the best. When you are choosing the burial committee chairperson, we select the best. When we are choosing the cattle dip chairperson, cattle dip committee chairperson, we select the best. When we are choosing the school up building committee chairperson, we select the best. But why is it that when it comes to national leadership, we select absolute morons to lead us? And that's why the leaders that are leading Africa today, they are not invested in the cause and structure of Africa. I stopped long ago to have faith in these leaders. They know what they signed up for, and so I don't expect any leadership from them, and that is why you have them. And I think the reason they don't see any other alternative as being capable leaders, they just see themselves as the leaders, and this is why Africa is not really progressing, because the leaders are not invested in Africa's development. So I think for now we have to move from tribal-based voting to ideology-based voting. Africa really just has to move from tribal-based voting to ideology-based voting. That is how to ensure we elect capable leaders. And I think the tragedy with our politics, with African politics today, is that the voting patterns of the university professor and his illiterate cousin in the village is basically not in ideology but in the surname of the electoral candidate. If they have the same names as ours, we elect them. Even the university professor will vote for an absolute moron because they share the same surname, they are of the same tribe. And I think the difference between the ruling party and the opposition party in Africa is not in the ideology, maybe electoral center versus right or center party, or maybe center left versus center right. It is that the difference between the ruling party and the opposition party in Africa really is about party A, that is the ruling party, draws support from tribe A and region B, while the opposition party draws support from tribe C and region D. So basically, then you have this difference. You have this difference between and the ruling party and the opposition party in Africa is not in ideology, and I don't think this does us a favor anyway, because now elections are like going to war, because we know if this candidate is going to get into office, they will not develop our region, so they will develop only their region. You can't see even the Pan-Africanist who was murdered, Muammar Gaddafi, really developed people in the capital city at the expense of the eastern cities such as Benghazi, and I think you had Ghanaian founding president. You had Ghanaian founding president Kwame Nkrumah maybe did not develop the north as much as he developed the south. So even for a Pan-Africanist such as Kwame Nkrumah, he was captured by these competing tribal interests in Ghana. Even the Pan-Africanist Robert Mugabe really had to play into the Shona and the Bele kind of crisis. I think he was a Shona, so I think he murdered about 20,000 in the Beles, and I think even as he travels outside championing about Pan-Africanism, he was not the candidate that developed Pan-Africanism. So I think for now, really Africa has to fix its leadership so that we can have leaders that are invested in deep in the issues of the day, and then of course after that then have an effective funding system for our businesses. I think it should not be an anomaly that what an African can only do. It shouldn't be an anomaly that what a business an African can only do is in selling vegetables by the roadside, while the big multinationals is left to whites and Asians. So why doesn't an African own a multinational? I think it shouldn't be an anomaly for an African to own a multinational, and that is why for the big multinational companies, they are served by, they get loans from banks, from big banks, while for the small trader who is selling vegetables across the road, across the street, they get their funding from microfinance institutions. So it is the middle high growth businesses that do not have funding at all, and this is why we need a funding mechanism for such kind of businesses. And I think if that happens, then we will be able to develop these businesses so that we can have, I think Africa needs just about 10 million high growth businesses, each of them employing about 200 people. This will be about 2 billion people with jobs. So how those will be about 2 billion people with jobs, and so that will mean 2 jobs for every African, clean, decent, rewarding job. And I think that is the kind of businesses we need to develop in Africa, so that we can have an Africa that is truly at the absolute bleeding edge. And I think the other thing is about the Made in Africa brand. Why don't we produce goods right here in Africa? It's about the time we produce raw materials without adding any value to them. So we must convert titanium to aeroplane parts, convert copper to electronics, convert that is uranium to nuclear power, convert coffee to coffee drinking chains, convert cocoa to chocolate, convert rivers to hydroelectric power, convert cotton to high-end designer clothes. And I think a study shows that when cotton from Uganda is exported to Italy, it creates 13 times more jobs in Italy through the high-end designer clothes than it does in Uganda in form of selling raw cotton. So I think Africa needs to develop the Made in Africa brand, and I think we don't need to start from very high. I think we need to start from we don't need to start from very high. We can start slowly, and then as we sell, as these products, Made in Africa products are sold, then they can basically, we can invest that profits back to R&D so that the quality improves. And this is what Japan did. The Japanese brands were not that great to begin with. They were being outcompeted by Western brands, but then of course they added a value to their brands. That is, you had Toshiba, Sony, Mitsubishi, Panasonic, Isuzu, Toyota. They were not first-class brands to begin with, maybe in the 1950s and 60s, but today they are a sign of quality, even better than the Western brands. And so this is why And so this is why maybe we need to increase, we need to add value to these made in Africa products so that we can start low, have a common market for a billion people. Imagine if Aliko Dangote, Africa's richest man, operates in only a handful of countries, yet he is worth $10 billion. Just imagine how wealthy would he be if he operated in all the 54 African countries? So Aliko Dangote says he needs 37 visas to travel around Africa. That is, Aliko Dangote says he needs 37 visas to travel around Africa. That is why he has opened an investment office in New York. So that's a loss of investing money that Africa badly needs. So basically, I think he has that just shows you that we need to be able to travel around Africa and do business with each other and have a profound Afrocentric mind. So why would someone go to Dubai when they can have the same desert experience in Namibia or in when they can't have the same desert experience in Namibia or in Chalbi Desert in Kenya? So I think we just have to have this unity that African seek should not just be in geographical span, but should be in absolute sense of Afrocentrism, so that we can buy our own, we can consume our own. So you let me know whether you think Africa can, that is, claim the 21st century. So that's it for now. Bye for now, till next time.